Hello everybody, what is up? My name is John Solid, I'm Twitch's #1 hand model, and for today, we're coming at you with a guide on what the hell PvP consumables are, how they work, and how I use them as a rogue versus various other classes. So some of this stuff will be good to know just in general for Season of Discovery, but some of it also applies to Classic Era. I use my PvP consumables the same, maybe just a little bit more sparingly on Error, but these both apply to both. So, without further ado, let's get into what the hell PvP consumables are. What consumables are they're made by alchemists, and they have various cooldowns on them, and they all have a shared cooldown, which is 2 minutes. Almost all of these are 2 minutes that I'm going to be talking about today, so there's not going to be any weird ones that fall out of that range, but some, consumables have a little bit more time, but everything that I'm going to talk about today only has 2 minutes. So let's get into it. The very, very first few that you can use, we're not going to really be using at all. So the very first one that we use is major healing potions. So healing potions, we don't really use them. They're bad and they incur our cooldowns on our PvP consumables. If you have a cooldown on one of your other consumables, it is almost always better to use that other consumable. So mana potions fall kind of under this category too, where they're really, really bad. You don't want to use them unless you have to. Sometimes you're a mana user, you have to use that PvP or the mana potion in PvP to get the kill. That's understandable. Sometimes healers, you've been healing for so long, you really need that mana potion. I mean, that's kind of understandable too. But these other ones that we're going to talk about, Rejuvenation potions are a healing potion and a mana potion combined kind of into one, and they do a little bit less for both. You don't really want to be using these either, unless you absolutely have to. So now we're going to start talking about the good PvP consumables. And oh my god, are they so good. The very, very first one that we're going to talk about is called a free action potion. You've heard people talk about this, and maybe you've heard the acronym before and you didn't know what they were talking about. People call it a FAP, a F-A-P, and what that stands for is free action potion. So what this does is for 30 seconds, it makes you immune to stun and movement impairing effects. So once you pop this, you cannot be stunned again. You cannot be slowed down. You are always going to be moving that same speed. It is super good in PvE. You might have used this on certain fights, but overall as a whole, this is one of those ones that you really, really want to have it on your bar somewhere, and you really, really want to have it keybound. Most of these that we're going to talk about, you want to have keybound in some sort of way. The next potion that we're going to talk about is a living action potion. So what the living action potion is it's kind of like the free action potion, except it doesn't last for 30 seconds like the free action potion does. This one only lasts for 5 seconds. But what you can do with it is you can use it while you're already stunned or slowed, and it gets rid of it completely. This is really, really, really good if your PvP trinket's down. I highly advise that when you have it, it's something that's similarly keybound to your PvP trinket. Like my PvP trinket is my middle mouse button. This is my control middle mouse button. So it's basically like I use this almost like a PvP trinket when my PvP trinket's down. The next one that we're going to talk about is the limited invulnerability potion. Limited invulnerability potion, what it does is it makes you immune to physical attacks for the next 6 seconds. So this is giant when you're about to take a heavy physical damage incoming from a hunter, a warrior, whatnot. This is really, really good in that aspect, as it just stops all of their physical damage. Now you can still get hit with spells, you can still get hit with other various things, but all of the stuff that is physical, you don't get hit by. Next one that we're going to go to is the Restorative Potion. So what the Restorative Potion is it, once you use it, and again, this is like the free action potion, except basically like magic. It lasts for 30 seconds, but you can't use it while you're stunned or anything like that. So what it does is or feared, and what it does is it removes one magic, one curse, one poison, or disease effect on you every 5 seconds for 30 seconds. So if you have a bunch of stuff on you, the chances are that it's not going to take off what you want. But if you're using this specifically to try to mitigate a Warlock's damage, a Shadow Priest damage, this is kind of good. It's also really good for if you're expecting to get feared, and they're not really doing anything, so you're fighting like a healer, and you're expecting them to come in for a fear, you can pop this, and then when you do get feared, it takes it off of you, almost like a tremor totem. So that's one of the good reasons that you have this one. The next one is a Swiftness Potion. I don't have any here because I am a rogue and I play Sprint, but you basically can use that like a sprint. If you're trying to get to like a PvP objective really quickly, you're running the flag. It's really good to have. Another good use for it is if you're get like caught off guard and you're needing to like run away and re-engage on your own terms. I never say never ever run away if you're never planning on coming back. But if you're playing, like if you think that you can take a fight better, run away and take that fight better, man. Don't never take the fight, because then you're, a coward. But if you ain't a coward and you're just tactically retreating, a Swiftness Potion could be good there. And then this one brings us to our final, like, kind of potion that we really use in PvP. And it's like a umbrella of a ton of different potions that we use. So what the protection potions are, they're like an absorb that they absorb a specific type of damage. So if you are, fighting a elemental shaman or a fire mage, you have the fire, warlock, priest, you have the shadow protect, boomkin, you have the arcane, hunter, you have the nature, frost mage, frost. And so they specifically cover a specific matchup of a ranged class that you particularly are on the back foot in certain situations where if they get a gap, you can use these protection potions to absorb an amount of damage while you're closing that gap. There might be like better potions to use during a fight, but these will save your life definitely in certain situations. Like if I open up on a warlock, I am not popping a greater shadow protect. I'm popping a restorative potion. So this is going to translate into the next section of the guide, which is what I particularly pop as a rogue versus all these various classes. So it could apply to your class. It could be a little bit different, but the overall general reasons why we're popping them like this is the same regardless of whatever class you're playing. This is more of the incoming and how you deal with the incoming by popping a PvP consumable. So without further ado, let's get into that section. Rogues. So this depends on if I have the opener or if they have the opener. If they have the opener, 9 times out of 10, I'm popping the living action potion and getting the hell out of there if I don't have my PvP trinket. If I have my PvP trinket, on the other hand, I will pop my PvP trinket and immediately free action potion, so I can't get myself in that scenario of him doing that and locking me up again. And so I will trinket free action potion as my number one thing. If my trinket's down, I will pop a living action potion and then start my fight. And normally my fight starts with a vanish after that, but we're talking about PvP consumables here, so we're just sticking to straight PvP consumables. So for a rogue, if I have my PvP trinket, I PvP trinket, free action. If I don't have my PvP trinket, I will use a living action. For warriors, you are pretty much always going to want to use the limited invulnerability potion on. They don't really have any stuns in Classic, so they can't really stun you too much. And them not being able to damage you for 6 seconds is huge. In that time, you can go from having 0 dots to having 5 dots and having a full finisher. So it really is the best that you want to pop for them. There are worlds where if you're fighting like a mace spec warrior, maybe you want a free action, but like you would never know that you're fighting a mace spec warrior without them, telling you first. You could try to assume that, but there's no warriors that run that. So like really, it's just limited vulnerability potion. You want to use it at a time where your health is high and they can't come out of it, and like you come out of it and they just execute you. So you don't want to use it at like 20%. You want to use it at like 70%. Really throw them off guard. Whenever you use a PvP consumable, a lot of people will get caught off guard, especially when they can't hit you. Like they'll be like, "How did he just bubble?" So this is like a good thing to throw somebody off guard. You throw that. And that's why you use it against warriors. For paladins, you pretty much want to use the same one, the limited vulnerability potion. And the reason why is you want to save your trinket when you're fighting paladins. And when the paladin stuns you, that's when they're doing all of their damage. Paladins don't do their damage in like long periods of time, like, and slowly kill you. They specifically get a bunch of procs and stuff like that, and they try to burst you down in like 100 to 0 type thing. So whenever they stun you, you can trinket and then limited invulnerability potion, better known as lip, and they cannot do anything else. They're just like, and then normally you can just beat them because they're caught up foot. They don't even bubble because they're like, what the hell? Like, it's seriously, using these PvP consumables really throw people off guard when you're fighting them. For druids, it depends on what you are fighting. If you're fighting a boomkin, I really like to even skip the Restorative Potion and just use the Greater Arcane Protection Potion on them. Because the thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to hit you with a star fall and just kill you. Or Starfire. They're trying to hit you with a Starfire and kill you. It's always like their names are so close together. And so this can basically absorb one of those even if it's a crit. So it's very, very nice. For regular feral druids, which right now there's so many feral druids out there, it's probably a good idea. You want the limited invulnerability potion. You want to use it as soon as you can. Even like kind of in your, if you even get the opener, you almost want to use it because when they turn around, they start bleeding you. Druid bleeds in phase 7 do insane amount of damage. And so this is kind of a little bit different in air. You probably wouldn't really want to do it in air. If you were fighting a feral druid in air, like classic, you just want to thank them for the win because you're going to win. Like, you don't really need to even ever think about consuming there. Maybe even just like using a health potion there is good. But in Sod, they do so much damage through their bleeds. Just limiting them being able to not 5-dot rip you in the opener is huge. So that's why use the limited invulnerability potion. Bear is insane right now. It does so much damage, so limited invulnerability potion's good there too because they can't 1k mangle you anymore. And rest of druids you don't need to worry about. For shamans, it also depends on the spec. So if you're fighting an elemental shaman, it's debatable on whether or not you want to use fire protection or nature protection. I find that like the majority of their burst comes out through like the flame shock and then the lava burst and stuff. So I really like using fire protection versus them. But a good argument could be used for nature. And then for Ellie, I would probably just use limited invulnerability potion again because it can't really stun you, and just having 6 seconds of being immune to their damage just changes the fight entirely. In Sod, you can win a fight in 6 seconds. Like, I can do enough burst to kill. I can do I don't know, 12k damage in 6 seconds as a backstab rogue. So the damage is insane. Their damage is insane too, but when you use this limited invulnerability potion, a lip, they just really, yeah, takes that off the table. For priests, I pretty much use the restorative potion just because I'm trying to catch their fear and get their fear out. If I have my, PvP trinket up, I'll go ahead and use my greater shadow protection potion maybe. And again, okay, so I don't have any of these protection potions keybound, but what I do is I have them in my bag very low. So if I'm fighting somebody and I'm like saying a fear and I'm like, okay, out of this fear, I really need the shadow protection potion, I'll just, as I'm standing in the fear, I'll just open up my bag, get ready to click it. As soon as I do, boom, click it, and then run back at them. Or try and close the gap. Hopefully I have Shadow Step up. But if you're any other class, it's pretty similar. Like, if you're in the fear and you're running away, there's nothing that you can do once you're in the fear if you didn't already pop the Restorative Potion, because you can't use it while you're feared. So the best logical thing after that is to pop a protection potion to get some absorbs and try and just live their damage, because in SOD, it's all about burst. Every class is trying to burst you down in PvP, so just any little amount that you can do to help yourself there is huge. For mages, depends on what you're fighting. Some mages are really good at getting polys off, but like as a rogue, you can really just mitigate that. If I was a warrior, I'd probably pop a lot more restorative potions in the mage fights than I do. For mage fights as a rogue, though, I tend to use my protection potions if I need to. Normally, again, like, I can two-hit most mages. If a mage, like, stacks stam, they stack, like, armor, they're trying to go, like, PvP, like, maybe 3. And then I still have, like, my Shadow Step, so I still have Sprint, like, so again, like, normally I go to utility potions, so Fire Mage, Fire Protection, Frost Mage, Frost Protection, if I even use one. For Warlocks, again, it depends on when I start the fight and if I have my PvP trinket or not. If I have, like, my PvP trinket, I normally just resort to Shadow Protecting, because again, a lot of these things is kind of like demoralizing in SOD, because fights last so fast that if they realize for the first like 4 seconds of a fight that they're doing absolutely nothing to you, it's huge. And then again, like, if you're in air, it's still really big because you're just mitigating damage. And in error, mitigating damage is even more important than Season of Discovery. So in error, a lot of the times the correct potion to pop is one of these protection potions for sure. And then getting to that, the hunter, melee hunters, you probably want to use a limited invulnerability potion against, but ranged hunters, it's like 50-50. I would normally use a greater nature protection potion against them. They're not really, again, like stunning you or anything like that. So just trying to mitigate as much damage as you can outside your burst windows. And with that, we come to an end of our guide on PvP consumables and then when I specifically use them as a rogue. If you came to the end of this video, just like, subscribe, follow. Come follow me on Twitch. We do lots of silly goose PvP stuff there. We're probably PvPing now. If you want to come down, the Twitch link is going to be pinned in the messages below. Come on, follow me there, and have a good rest of your day.